Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into a massive, deeply structural headache that is probably keeping you or the partners at your consulting firm up at night. I'm talking about margin compression. More importantly, we are going to explore exactly how a documented, highly repeatable solution called the Integrated Process Excellence Framework, or IPE for short, gives you a real way out of this exhausting race to the bottom. Let's get right into it.
So let's start with a painful reality that we all know intimately in professional services. Why are our margins constantly under attack? Well, enterprise consulting is facing some incredible structural pressure right now. Procurement teams have gotten wildly sophisticated, and clients are aggressively demanding fixed-price and outcome-based contracts. Because of this, generalist advisory practices are finding it harder and harder to actually justify those premium rates.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll outline the margin compression problem. Then we'll explain the IPE framework itself, walk through its 6 core competitive advantages, discuss how it de-risks enterprise AI, and finally, look at your practical path to adoption.
All right, Section 1, the margin compression problem.
You know, there are really 3 main forces just squeezing your profits right now. First up, lengthy, unpaid scoping cycles. That's weeks of unbilled time just trying to figure out the parameters of the project. Second, undifferentiated methods. If you don't have a named, specific methodology, clients just see you as a commodity, which instantly triggers a price war. And third, high AI engagement risk. Literally everyone wants to sell AI today, but without a structured governance framework, it's a huge liability. Firms without a defensible model are simply handing deals over to the firms that have one.
Moving right along to Section 2, the IPE framework explained.
So what exactly is it? Developed by John Cashat and rooted in decades of actual industrial application, PIPE isn't just another consulting model. It's really a deployment science. You don't have to build it from scratch, you just adopt it. It moves through 6 incredibly tight steps: creating a positive environment, defining the process, documenting it, communicating it, measuring it with causal architectures, and finally, enabling continuous improvement. It gives absolutely any engagement an immediate, unshakable backbone.
Now, I want you to focus on just one single number for a second: 81. Honestly, this number represents the ultimate secret weapon for consulting firms that are looking to drastically expand their margins.
That 81, it refers to the 81 IPE Packs. These are pre-built, sector-specific process intelligence modules. Whether your client is in manufacturing, healthcare, aerospace, pharma, or financial services, there is a pack ready for their core functions. Every single pack contains a complete 3-level process hierarchy, master KPI mappings, and AI grounding structures. It is an absolutely massive head start.
Think about the old way of doing things. We call it the blank page problem. You know the drill. You walk into a client's site and spend 4 to 6 completely unbilled weeks just trying to discover and document their existing processes. The IPE approach completely eliminates this. Armed with an IPE pack, your consultant walks in with a ready-made map. You are compressing a month of expensive custom scoping down into just a few days of gap mapping, and that speed, that translates directly to your margin.
Okay, Section 3, 6 core competitive advantages.
So how does all this structure actually hit your bottom line? Well, Step 1 locks in stakeholder buy-in right away, which kills early-stage project attrition. Step 2 creates incredibly tight statements of work, virtually wiping out those margin-eating change orders. Step 3, as we just talked about, compresses documentation from weeks down to days. Step 4 slashes your training costs because the deliverables are already pre-structured. Step 5 lays a perfect data foundation for analytics. And Step 6 sets you up for recurring revenue. It's not some awkward, hard upsell. It's just a totally natural transition into managed services.
But here's the real magic: repeatability. Every single time you deliver an engagement using IPE, your team is building institutional knowledge on a completely standardized framework. Your second engagement in the same sector requires less staffing, way less senior partner supervision, and carries significantly lower risk. Your margins literally compound over time without you having to raise your day rates a single cent. You structurally become more profitable than any custom-built competitor out there.
Next up, Section 4, de-risking enterprise AI.
This is a big one. Clients are throwing money at AI right now, right? But they're really struggling to connect those huge capabilities to actual operational outcomes. They might buy your brilliant AI strategy, but AI models fundamentally require structured process data to actually work.
IPE serves as this exact required foundation. It uses a really rigorous causal architecture, mapping key input variables, key process variables, and key output variables directly to process elements. This is exactly the grounding structure that large language models and agentic AI desperately need.
And it gets better. IPE actually maps directly to the really heavy-hitting compliance standards that enterprise clients demand today. We're talking ISO 42001, the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, the EU AI Act, and AWS CAF AI. When your firm utilizes IPE, you are immediately speaking the native language of chief risk officers, general counsel, and chief compliance officers. You aren't just stuck selling to procurement anymore, you're presenting a fully governed, risk-mitigated solution directly to the C-suite budget authorities. This dramatically shortens your sales cycle and seriously bumps up your average deal size.
Finally, Section 5, the path to adoption.
So how do we actually put this into practice? It's a pretty straightforward 4-phase ramp. Phase 1 is framework licensing and certification for your senior managers. Phase 2, you select and brand the specific IPE packs for your target industry verticals. Phase 3 is pilot delivery, where you run your first engagement entirely backed by IPE Services quality assurance. And lastly, Phase 4, scale and expand. You fully integrate IPE into your standard proposals, allowing you to reap those compounding margin benefits across your entire portfolio.
Well, that brings us to the end of our explainer today. The market absolutely rewards speed, structure, and certainty, so I want to leave you with this final, critical thought for your next big engagement pitch. Are you going to continue the exhausting race to the bottom, constantly competing on generalist day rates? Or will you adopt a documented deployment science that actually justifies your premium and compounds your margins over time? The choice is completely yours. Thanks for joining me, and keep exploring those structural solutions.